This morning on The Dish, the improbable journey of Chef Ivan Orkin. Orkin's first exposure to Japan was a lonely one, washing dishes in a Long Island sushi bar when he was just 15. But he fell in love with the cuisine and the culture. After restaurant work in this country, he moved to Tokyo and took his wife's bold suggestion to open a ramen shop. The unlikely gamble paid off. His Ivan Ramen became a hit and spawned 2 locations now open here in New York.
Now he's the co-author of the Gaijin Cookbook, Japanese recipes from a chef, father, eater, and lifelong outsider. Chef Ivan Orkin, good morning and welcome to the Dish.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's so good to have you here.
Yeah.
So what drew you to, well, first of all, let's talk about what we have in front of us because it looks amazing.
Yeah, so it's really fun to go through the process of choosing some great dishes for today's show. All the way out in the big bowl is tempura, which is lightly battered and fried, mostly vegetables, but also we have a shrimp version as well. Some roasted peppers with a shio tare. Shio means salt, so it's sort of like a salty, oily sauce that really perks up the vegetables and makes them delicious. We have the oden, which in the book is the oden party. It's fish cakes and eggs and sausages in a dashi broth. Here we have an Okinawan-style soba, which is pork belly, and it's delicious. And this is a rice cake that you toast in the toaster oven, and there's sweet beans, and there's toasted soy flour.
And a great
last but not least,
my beer, the Ivan Ramen beer. As we say in Japan, we say kampai.
Kampai.
Yeah.
Kampai.
And in New York, I say l'chaim.
L'chaim.
Well, so I mean, the initial question is, what brings a kid from here to an obsession with Japan and Japanese cuisine?
Well, you know, I got my first job ever at a Japanese restaurant in about 1978 when, you know, the whole country was not eating Japanese food. And I fell in love with it. And I'd always been very interested in food in general. But when I got this first job, they were so nice to me. The chefs would feed me all the time. And I remember a story. My first day at work, I was so hungry. I was 15. I was always hungry. And I said to the chef, you know, I'm really hungry. And he whipped up a raw egg. He poured it over a bowl of rice with a little bit of soy sauce and seaweed. And he said, "Here, Ivan-san."
Was that your epiphany?
And yes. And I was like, so I was raised to be polite, you know?
Yes.
And I had asked.
Yes.
And so I got this kind of gooey bowl of rice and egg, and I started eating, and I was like, wow, I mean, it's kind of gooey and weird, but it's delicious.
I know, right?
And I was cooked. It was just a part-time job, so I was only there for, you know, whatever it was, a year or something. But it stayed with me, and so when I went to college, I studied Japanese, and then I thought, well, I guess I better go live in Japan, and it just sort of steamrolled this love of Japan, and it's my second home.
Wow.
TV dinners, I hear, also played a role in the desire to wanting to be a chef.
You know, my mother was never that interested in food. And so she would go to the ballet with my dad and leave us with the Hungry Man dinners. And I don't know if you know these.
Yes.
They never cook evenly. So they're always like raw on one side and molten on the other side, right? And when I was 13 or 14, I put my foot down and I said, I'm never eating this stuff again. And I started to cook.
There it is.
Yeah.
I mean, ramen's your specialty, but I mean, you call it the maverick cuisine of Japan. It couldn't have been easy to figure it out.
Well, you know, I use the term the maverick cuisine because in Japan, everything is very kind of rigid and thought out, and there's rules for everything. But ramen was the only thing that didn't have rules. The shop, there's no rule book. All the ramen shop owners have secrets. I'll say, hey, how do you make your soup? And everything in the room is dead silent.
Right.
You know? and so you had to figure everything out on your own. And a lot of the popular shops were popular not just because the food was good, but because the guy was quirky or the atmosphere was fun. And so I thought to myself, you know, of all the types of cuisine or things I might try to do in Japan as a business, ramen is sort of the most forgiving. It would allow me, if I make the food good and I have a fun atmosphere, I might get a shot at opening a place in a place that doesn't necessarily welcome foreigners to cook their cuisine. You know?
Yeah, that's the amazing thing.
Yeah, and so I call it the maverick cuisine because, you know, the ramen shop owners are always a ragtag bunch.
So I'm going to ask you, actually, if you could have this meal with anyone past or present, who would it be?
My first choice would probably be Groucho Marx. I might ask Jerry Garcia,
Oh, my goodness.
Billie Holiday, and Charlie
Hello.
Parker to join.
Wow.
Right all in
Listen,
there.
yeah. Welcome.
Right all in there.
We'll enjoy that one.
Well, Chef Ivan Orkin, as I put my chopsticks down and show everyone your fabulous signature. If you want to know more about him and the dish, go to our website at cbsthismorning.com.